Listen, you're not gonna find anything on me, okay? Trust me.
Empty your pockets into the tray, sir, or we'll have to. Your pockets, sir?
Lady, the problem isn't in my pants.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. It's the time of the week where we talk all things X-Men, and it's been a huge week in X-Men. I've already covered the Jonathan Hickman interview on Adventures in Poor Taste. I said Doc and I were going to do an Inferno preview on this week in X-Men. There's so much X-Men news that we're going to do a preview tomorrow. We're going to cover the information that we have on Onslaught Revelations, also the new series that's coming out. I'm calling it 10 of Wolverines. It's the 10 lives and 10 deaths of Wolverine, as well as a fantastic issue of Hellions. And here with me to talk about that is the X-Men historian, the Marvel aficionado. Doc, how you doing, buddy?
I'm great, dude. This is a surprisingly good and terrible week simultaneously in X-Men.
Well, hey, at least there's stuff to talk about. I thought we were going to have to cover New Mutants.
I know. We almost got dragged down to that level, but Hellions was dope enough that we could probably talk about that for a full 20 minutes, but let's go.
Absolutely, yeah. So we got like 4 X-Men videos this week. It's fantastic. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Onslaught Revelations. Obviously, this is coming out of the pages of Way of X. This will be by Si Spurrier. We've got I think it's 5 or 6 images, a couple of covers, and some interior works. We know that he's been building towards this. We've got the unlikely alliance of Nightcrawler and Legion. And we've got Onslaught apparently has infected everybody on Krakoa that has been resurrected. He's imparted himself into the resurrection process. We see the very first cover right here, Onslaught Revelation, and it looks like Onslaught may have control of Charles Xavier.
Oh yeah, I mean that was kind of inevitable. Way of X turned out a lot better than I expected. And I'm actually really, really disappointed that this is only going to be a one shot, because I feel like there's a lot more they could explore here. But instead of wasting time, it seems like they're getting right down to business. I mean, we've been talking about, I can't figure out whether or not this was always planned or if this is just a retcon in to address the fact that none of these mutants have felt like themselves for like years now. But this actually makes sense, and it really works in the context of everything. And Xavier has been the biggest example of somebody that doesn't feel like himself since almost the beginning of the Hickman era.
Absolutely. And it looks like, is that the Krakoan tree? Is it on fire? That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, it looks like Krakoa, him as his tree version of himself. It does look like it's on fire. I mean, I feel like this has felt like it was the natural evolution to lead directly into Inferno. And whether or not this is, there's definitely going to be some thematic crossover between the two. And they're all kind of reaching the same boiling point at the same time of Krakoa is on fucking fire.
So on the second cover, we've got Nightcrawler fighting Onslaught here. This one's got a little less as far as teasers, whatever. It's a fine cover. Nothing wrong with this one. It's
just a pinup variant. I mean, okay, Onslaught versus Nightcrawler. Yay.
The third one is more interesting. It looks like this is likely interior art. We remember when we were inside the head of Nightcrawler when Legion was. He was on that pirate ship, and he was trying to keep the ship afloat as he was traversing troubled waters, i.e., the state of Krakoa that he was trying to fix and find some way to bring everyone together as far as culture. I think this is pretty cool. I'm glad that we're revisiting that. I thought the pirate themed weird Nightcrawler visions were cool.
I do too. I'm not sure if this is even a cover though. It feels like
it's an interior.
Yeah, I was going to say this looks like interior work.
It's a splash page.
Yeah, it's a splash page. That's probably one of the opening pages of the story. And this is I feel like this is like a little bit of a refresher for anybody that might have skipped the Way of X leading into this, and it's kind of like, here, we're going to catch you up in 2 pages.
I will say this: don't do that. Go back and get every issue of Way of X, and read it.
Probably find them,
and you're gonna be happy because it's been very, very good. I was not certain that I was going to get to the end and enjoy it, but I've liked it essentially from the beginning to the end. There was a rough spot in there with the Hellfire Gala, but whatever. Every series suffered because of that event. But this thing has been dope. If you haven't read it, do yourself a favor and go read it. There isn't enough good X-Men out there, and Way of X has been fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. Go pick it up. It's only 5 issues. I'm betting you could probably still find it on the shelf.
All right, so here's the next one we've got. Onslaught with a bloodied sword, got a double blade on it. We've also got on the right, we've got some stuff with Charles Xavier. It appears that he's being controlled, and we've got that little girl that we met not that long ago.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that Wolverine dead in the foreground?
I think it's
Wolverine?
it's Wolverine, Cyclops. I think Cable. I can't really tell who any of the other ones are at the moment, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, that's kind of the point of it's I don't even know if it is a vision. It could be actually happening, but it doesn't matter because hey, resurrection. But at the same time, and there is this weird thing, Onslaught has never had a sword. I don't know what this thing is with giving X-Men swords during this Hickman era, but stop it. But no, this is a cool double page spread. It looks like, it's showing the stakes of what's going on and showing Onslaught's essential victory over everybody.
Since you got Nightcrawler going to pick this girl up, why was that girl important? I can't even remember at this point.
I don't recall either, honestly.
I know she had the black eyes. I remember seeing her.
Yeah.
Might have to go back and reread it before we get into Onslaught Revelation.
I think we do, because she wasn't a major player in the book. She was just kind of like a little plot point, but it looks like she might be significant to this story.
Well, it certainly looks like Nightcrawler is trying to save her or needs her to do something. So that's pretty cool. What else we got? Looks like we've got a rave going on Krakoa as everyone's partying. And certainly it looks like behind the scenes, there are some very worried people as Charles Xavier is completely under the spell of Onslaught.
Yeah. A lot of those characters from it's kind of strange. I have a vague recollection. I feel like when Legion kind of killed everybody, I feel like he wiped out the infection of Onslaught in most of those characters, and these were a lot of the ones that early on from like the first issue, I think it was the first issue of Way of X, where they were all talking about the Patchwork Man, and at the same time
they're playing games on who could get killed and stuff.
Yeah, so I feel like maybe they've come to realize what the problem is, and they're definitely noticing. So they're going to kind of be Nightcrawler's backup for this. They'll be the cannon fodder for him.
So those are the covers that we have in the preview images. I'm excited. Looks all great, and I could not recommend this highly enough. I think everyone will like Way of X if you didn't read it, but I'm definitely jazzed about that. But that's not the only thing that we got as far as previews this week, Doc. We've got information that in the late part of the year, we're going to get a 2-part series similar to House of X, Powers of Ted.
Yeah.
It's similar as far as the way that they're putting the stories together from Ben Percy with the 10 lives of Wolverine and the 10 deaths of Wolverine. There is the rumor out there, or the theory, that this is going to tie into like the 10 lives that Wolverine led during Moira's 10 lives. And how he died and failed each time. It's kind of weird. I'm like, they wouldn't have met each other the first life.
Well, it depends. I mean, they could have, because
she never knew she was a mutant in that first life.
Yeah, but she was still a scientist and everything. Oh wait, no, she wasn't.
She was like she
was just some wife. So it doesn't matter.
Hey, wives are important too, Doc. Don't disparage my wife, okay?
Yeah, you're right. My bad.
She might watch this. I had to stick up for her.
Yeah. And she's going to like beat me.
Kick me in the nuts.
But no, like, you know, but he's still important in that he can, he has an important role in the state of mutant kind during all of those, whether or not they, you know, she was important during her first life. He was during all 10 of his. And I feel like this is definitely the stand-in for the Moira X book that
we were expecting from
promised.
Hickman himself.
Yeah, and we never got. So I'm feeling like, okay, they, you know, Wolverine and her in most of those lives have a serious connection. So you could kind of swap the importance of that book onto Logan, because he's going to actually have a more active role in the fate of mutant kind than Moira does in some of those lives. You know, even after her first life, she doesn't necessarily have a super active role until like around the 5th one, to be honest. So, but Wolverine does in all 10. So I can kind of see this being a little bit, you know, at least more action oriented, even if the story is going to be a little weaker.
So I remember when we were reading House of X Powers of 10 and we were seeing the timelines, and we were trying to figure out the history of the X-Men and putting them in these different lives, right? Like this life is clearly this event goes in this life, and we were kind of able to separate things out. Do you think this will make things more clearly, as you'll be able to see the different states of Wolverine in his career and be like, oh, okay, so those Wolverine stories are from life 1. These Wolverine stories are completely compartmented into life 5. You think we'll be able to do that, or am I overthinking it?
I think you might be overthinking it a little bit, but at the same time, I think they can use it in that way, because I mean, they need to find a way to make excuses for all of their bad writing over the last 20 years. You know, okay, well, Dadverine from Jason Aaron is definitely part of this life, because, you know, we need to find a reason why it's
to exercise that demon.
Yeah.
Never happened.
Yep. And the fact that we need to make excuses for the fact that Jason Aaron completely fucked up Wolverine.
All right, that's another discussion, Doc. But remember how much fun that was when we were trying to sort out the history and all those things and all those cool mysteries? But
yeah, it really was. And I feel like, I feel like this is going to be our second round at that. And the more I think about it, the more I think that there was supposed to be 3 of these, and that we're only going to end up getting 2. I feel like Hickman probably kind of outlined this one for Ben Percy. Ben Percy's got to fill in all the blanks, because he needs to make sure that it fits with the 10 timelines up until now that we kind of established in House of X and Powers of X. But I feel like there was going to be a 3rd one at some point, but we're not getting that, obviously, with Hickman checking out. However, I do feel like this is going to kind of explore a lot of the same territory and flesh it out a little bit more.
All right. So are you excited about this or not?
I'm excited in the fact that I am going to get a kind of what I was hoping to get from Moira X in the form of this, if my suspicion is correct, and this is kind of just revamping that concept for Wolverine. I am disappointed that I'm even as good as Ben Percy is. He's not John Hickman, and he doesn't have a clear enough handle on this. He doesn't seem like he's exploratory enough with or ambitious enough.
He's a mystery box writer.
Yeah, he is. And Ben Percy is he's effectively really, really obsessed with fucking plants. So
maybe this will get him over that. We won't have to go back.
Hopefully, hopefully you're right. And I would really like to see what Ben Percy's able to do with Wolverine away from goddamn plants. So yeah.
Let's get into this comic book, because there was a really good issue of Hellions. Hellions has been good from day 1. It's been good all the way to now. This is one of the better issues. I don't know if it's the best, but it's up there. Number 15, obviously, this is Zeb Wells writing. Steven Segovia is not on art, unfortunately, but Roger Antonio, I think, does a perfectly good job as a stand-in artist. It's a good episode, and we're starting to explore that Chimera stuff that you would have expected from this Dawn of X, Reign of X title with Sinister involved.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was a great issue. I mean, I feel like we need to congratulate Zeb Wells on being the first. He was one of the last ones into that office, and he's the first one to actually do something, except for maybe Si Spurrier. Si Spurrier actually came in later, so okay, maybe not. But he's the first one to actually do something with a major significant plot point that was foreshadowed in or not even really foreshadowed. It was just straight up.
You forgot Chip Zdarsky's X-Men versus Fantastic Four. The opening scene of House of X is Cyclops versus the Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah, you are right. Yep.
It's none of the regulars though. Well, I guess Zeb is a regular now, but none of the originals.
Yeah. So, but he's the first one to really, really start narratively exploring. And he's been building this as, hey, going back to our conversation from a week or so ago, he's been building this as a fucking subplot for like 8
multiple
issues
subplots
now.
In this comic book.
Yes. And now, like, the hybridization is kind of a significant thing that I don't want to say it's foreshadowed because it's just straight up told to us that it's going to happen. So it's not really.
But now we know how it happens. It happens because of Tarn.
Exactly.
He did it first, and they stole it from him.
Yeah. And now I still don't give a shit about Tarn or any of those other weird Iraqi mutants. I still don't care. And other than amino something.
Amino fetus?
Yeah, amino fetus. I don't even, well, even his name, obviously, I don't even remember their names, except for Tarn. Now, Tarn is still difficult to
There's a
understand what the hell he's
bladefish in
saying.
there. There's like a sand mud. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
Dumb
know.
names.
Yeah, they are. They're all terrible names. But you know, Tarn had already kind of done the hybridization thing. We didn't know it, and he was kind of just making disciples out of it for whatever reason. But at the same time, we're getting Sinister's take on it, and they're finally getting around to this and setting up what's coming in the future and all that future that we were shown at the X+100 period that we've been waiting to get around to, like even leading us down that path. You know, no one else has even taken a step down that path except for Zeb Wells so far. So
there's another subplot that Psylocke has essentially screwed the team over because Sinister's holding her digital daughter over, and the chickens finally came home to roost this episode.
It does, and now it is kind of amusing that like all of her team was like, "Oh, okay, I get it. It's cool. We're actually okay with it. We understand why you did it." Like they immediately understood, and except for Empath because he's just a dick.
Well, we got to get to Empath here at the end, but there's another subplot I want to talk about first.
Well, but now it makes sense. Those the preview images for Inferno, why Psylocke is on that, as well as Colossus and Bishop. Now, at least Psylocke, she makes sense for why you can't trust her. So at least now it makes sense.
She's compromised. There's we got the subplot. We got the smiley baby that was activated at the beginning,
and it looks like and it looks like it was activated by that fucking guy from
Orcus.
Yep.
I can't remember his name. He's a scientist on Orcus that helped bring what's his dick online? The Nimrod. Yeah, I don't remember his name, but I'm like, oh, we don't see him very often.
We're actually like Zeb Wells. Again, it comes back to the fact that Zeb Wells is the best actual comic book, like superhero comic book writer in that office. And I even say that as significantly better than John Hickman. John Hickman's a great mystery box and big idea and sci-fi writer, but Zeb Wells is the best superhero comic writer in that office by a large margin.
We've got this little smiley bot baby thing happening, and all of a sudden they activate him with this weird antenna dish that looks like it's made out of parts of other Smiley bots or maybe even creatures.
Yeah.
So strange.
Yeah, it really is. And I want to see where that goes now. Like, Jesus Christ, Hellions is the book to be reading in that office if you actually want to get some of the stuff that we were all promised during House of X and Powers of X. It's going there.
The last reveal, did not see this one coming. We're in Murder World. Tarn has had to go back because Amino Fetus, I guess, is going into his fourth stage where he's going to have all these babies that eat time.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. But then we get the team turning on Sinister and his clone.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden we find out Empath has essentially been a sleeper agent for Emma.
Yep. The entire time. I mean, he was one of her Hellions back in the day, whenever the Hellions were, her school back in the 80s. He's still wearing the Hellions costume.
And then when she whispers into his ear, Emma sends her like regards or whatever. Or Emma said, "Don't do this."
Yep. And I mean, we get now it makes sense for why I've enjoyed watching every single time that Empath has gotten killed in this book. But he's like, you have the hybrid of Sinister and Tarn that is getting unveiled by both of the one Sinister to the kind of Franken Sinister and to the team. And you're like,
Sinister had made a god version of himself.
Yeah.
And Emma has Empath as a sleeper agent and uses as Havoc to explode himself to kill it.
Yep. To kill fucking everything and wipe it out. Yeah. And now I'm betting that this is going to explain why Sinister moves. And he moves and starts his cloning to Mars. Yes. So we're actually getting down that road that we were promised. And it's wonderful payoffs. I feel like, you know what, even the weak issues of Hellions to this point, they're tying all that stuff back in to make it actually have mattered and make me feel like I don't feel like I've wasted a single dollar on this title. Even at times where I was like, it's kind of meandering. Nope, fuck it. Nope. We got shit going on and it's all getting tied together. Holy fuck. This is great. Yeah.
Some of the issues have been specifically character developments, with Scalp Hunter, with Psylocke and some of the other characters. There's been other
Nanny
things
and Orphan Maker.
Really pushed a lot of subplots and everything. And then it's all coming to fruition. John's pissed off because he feels like Psylocke betrayed her. Now that he finds out, he of course forgives her because he's in love with her. And you got all this really great stuff going on. So this was a fantastic issue. I'll give it 4.5 stars. If Steven Segovia was the artist, I think it would have been 5-star. I think Roger Antonio is just a step below, but this is the highest recommendation. This is a great comic. Yeah,
this is a wonderful comic, and it's every reason to go back and pick up the other ones, because honestly, I can't wait until next month to get the next book. I mean, this series, this is the one that can't end. It's the best ongoing
at Marvel.
Yeah,
I think it's better than Daredevil now. Daredevil kind of started going down while Hellions keeps ascending.
Yeah. So definitely go pick up this book. 4.5 stars. Just dope as hell.
Absolutely. Well, that does it for this week at X-Men. Tomorrow we're going to be doing a preview of Jonathan Hickman's Inferno. We got some covers, we got some interiors, and we've got a trailer to talk about.
All right. See you soon.